Welcome to this week's Forex Forecast. Make sure you let me know in the comments down below what pairs you're watching this week, and I hope you enjoy the video. Alright, starting things off with the US dollar index. The past week, the banks added 35 long contracts, and they also added 1,345 short contracts, which leaves them 83% long the US dollar index. And after this video, I encourage you guys to go back and watch last week's weekly Forex Forecast to see the accuracy of these forecasts so you can follow along in your trading week. So looking at the dollar daily chart here, we had broken this daily supply on the US dollar. We have new demand possibly forming right here. We won't know until another candle closes up here. So I'm going to hold off on drawing that demand zone right there. In last week's forecast, I talked about this 4-hour area of demand here. I said it's very likely we could see price actually react off of this 4-hour demand. During the weekly Forex forecast, price was inside of this demand zone. And as you can see, a beautiful push up. So if you got involved in the US dollar pairs long there, very, very nice. And now we are just trending up on the 4-hour charts and all time frames. If you look at the weekly chart, I'll come back to the 4-hour chart in a minute. If you look at the weekly chart, we actually pierced through this overall monthly area of supply right here, and we actually broke this weekly supply right here that I removed. And now we are coming up to this weekly supply zone right here. It's not a significant supply zone, but it is something we could certainly react off of. So once the dollar gets to about 99.25 maybe, we could see the DXY start to turn around. But ultimately on the lower time frames, you could be trading US dollar longs with this 4-hour trend. If price starts to pull back on some of the US dollar pairs and we see price come into this 4-hour area of demand on the US dollar, I would not be shorting the dollar at this point because we could see price react off of that 4-hour zone like that. But if it doesn't, if it reacts a bit and then breaks through, it's more likely that we'll see the US dollar continue to fall. Looking at EURUSD, the past week, the banks added 14,190 long contracts, and they also added 8,500 short contracts. If you look at the daily chart here, we have a very beautiful daily downtrend. I know a lot of you guys probably want to be catching this knife and catching that bounce, but I don't really recommend it. You should actually probably be trading with the trend, in my honest opinion. If you do decide to get in long, I would take profits somewhat early, maybe at 1.05. If you're going to get in short, you could target around 1.085 or even a little bit lower at 1.08. And in my opinion, you could be just trading with this daily downtrend. So essentially, you could be day trading the 15-minute chart, the 5-minute chart, 1-minute chart, all that's good stuff there. And if you look at this 4-hour chart right here, we have a nice 4-hour area of supply right here. I don't really recommend taking that as a set and forget trade, but you could look for confirmation coming off of this 4-hour area of supply. If you don't know what confirmation is, leave me a comment down below in the comments and I will get back to you. So that's a decent little supply zone right there to get involved in. If you come to a 1-hour chart, there is a 1-hour zone right here, right before this 4-hour supply zone. So whenever there's a situation like this, when there's a 4-hour zone right above like this, and then there's a lower time frame zone right below it, I actually prefer to wait for that zone to be hit and then get involved. So we could see this zone break above it, and like I just drew out here, break down. So ultimately, all signs are pointing to the downside in the euro. I would not be getting in long the euro at all right now, and any long should be taken with caution and profits should be taken somewhat early. In my opinion, it's higher odds to be trading with the trend, and right now the trend is down. And ultimately, I think the euro could probably fall just a little bit more, maybe to 1.08, and then we could start to see a move up. But I think at the end of the day, it's probably going to go down based on all of the trends on the higher time frames. All right, on to gold. In last week's Forex Forecast, we predicted this beautiful up move in gold. I talked about how if you wanted to get it long on gold, I would at least wait for this 4-hour supply zone to be removed. And if there's a zone right here, I would look to get involved in, as you can see in last week's forecast. So if you got involved there, very, very nice. And if you want all my zones, make sure you check out the YouTube or Patreon membership. It's only $5 CAD per month. You can get my zones every single day for only $5 CAD per month. Links in the description. Hope to see you guys there. So looking at a daily chart here of gold, I would look to target to the long side 1998, just a little bit before 2000 mark, because that's going to be a significant mark. I don't really recommend going short on gold right now, but if you are going to go in short, I would take profits early at somewhere between 1950 and 1940. The call reports show that the banks added 4,000 longs and they got rid of 10,000 short positions, but they are still 79% long on gold. If you look at a weekly chart here, we've clearly broken out on the weekly chart, but we're coming up to some highs in price up here. So ultimately gold could probably turn around for a bit, and then I think we could see a massive breakout, but that's just for another weekly Forex forecast. So right now you could be just day trading all to the long side on gold. You could be looking for maybe 5-minute confirmation coming off of this 1 hour area of demand right here. Or you could just be set and forget trading 5-minute and 15-minute time frames. But ultimately, I think it would be better if we did end up breaking this 4-hour high first on gold, and then looking for set and forgets is definitely a decent thing to do on gold. All right, looking at USDJPY, the past week the banks added 9,200 long positions, and they also added 3,600 short positions, which leaves them 85% long on USD Japanese yen. And last week's Forex Forecast, I talked about how there was this 4-hour demand zone. You could be looking for a 15-minute confirmation coming off of here. And as you can see, we saw a nice big move up, but ultimately price has come back down on at least on the 4-hour chart. If you look at a daily chart here, there's not really a trend in place, so it's very difficult to guess the direction, the overall direction of where USD yen is probably going to be going. If you do want to get in short, I would target 114.2. Long, I would take profits somewhat early at 115.4, 115.5, something like that. So clearly no trend on the daily chart, so you pretty much have to be trading with the 4-hour trend. And as you can see, there's no 4-hour trend. I don't really recommend looking for 15-minute confirmation coming off of this 4-hour demand again. I think it would actually be best if we saw a breakout, and then if there's a supply zone right here like that on the 4-hour chart, you could maybe look to take a confirmation trade coming off of that 4-hour supply, if that happens. Other than that, I really don't see any more opportunities. I guess if you look at this chart too, if we get a push up to here, you could play the buy low, sell high type of deal, but I'm not really a huge fan of that. I think it's safer to wait for trends to take place. All right, now on to the British pound. And real quick, if you guys are enjoying this video and you appreciate all of my work, I would really appreciate it if you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. And of course, turn on those post notifications. I hate promoting all this stuff, but every YouTuber says it, so I might as well say it as well. So looking at the pound, the past week the banks added 5,400 longs and they got rid of 42 short contracts. If you look at the daily chart here, we made a new low, creating that daily downtrend last week. If you are going to get in short, I would target 1.315. To the long side, I would target pretty early at 1.33. Now, we have a daily downtrend, so in my opinion, all trades should essentially be to the short side. If you come to a 4-hour chart, we have a very nice 4-hour downtrend. You could be looking for 15-minute set and forget trades to the downside, or if you want, you could wait for price to come up to this 4-hour area of supply right here and look for confirmation coming off of that 4-hour supply zone on a 15-minute chart or maybe even a 5-minute chart. But keep in mind, if price does come up to here, it will be testing this trend line and we could see a spike up and then a fake out to the upside and then a push down. So be very, very careful doing that on GBPUSD. There is also a little 1-hour zone right here. You could look for confirmation coming off of this 1-hour zone on a 5-minute chart, but ultimately all signs are pointing to the downside on the GBPUSD, and I think all trades should be focused to the short side. But one thing to consider, if you look at a weekly chart, we are in this tested weekly area of demand right here. It was tested once back here again, and now it's coming in for a third test. So in my opinion, it is a weaker zone. So all shorts should be taken with caution as well. But ultimately, if it's been tested 3 times, we could finally see that breakthrough. USDCAD, the past week, the banks got rid of 1,667 long contracts, and they also added 3,200 short contracts. We reacted off of this daily demand zone again, and now we're pushing back up. So if you do want to get in long on USDCAD, I would target 1.29. To the short side, I would target right before this daily demand again at 1.26. So since daily demand is in control and the US dollar is in an uptrend, you could be looking for long positions. And right here, if you look at a 4-hour chart, it's a pretty clear sign of what you should be doing. We broke this supply zone right here, and now we are reacting off of this 4-hour supply zone. But a 4-hour supply zone is not as strong as that daily demand zone that we are in, and that daily demand zone is somewhere down here. So daily demand is in control. So if you look, there's a 4-hour demand zone right here. You could treat this 4-hour demand zone as confirmation. You could possibly just set and forget trade this, or you could look for 15-minute confirmation. Ultimately, I think 15-minute confirmation is a safer bet inside of this 4-hour area of demand, and it's a decent little opportunity because you can get in long down here. One of your targets, your final target, could maybe be this opposing 4-hour area of supply. All right, on to Aussie US dollar. The past week, the banks added 1,167 longs and they got rid of 4,500 short positions. If you look here, we finally broke out of this range we were in and we are pushing to the upside. So longs profits should be maybe taken around now or around 0.74. If you really think it's going to keep going up, I would target 0.745. To the short side, I would take profits somewhat early since we are breaking out and the momentum is up. I would take profits at 0.73 if you do feel like getting in short. So right now we have trends on the 4-hour chart and the 1-hour chart. If you come to a 4-hour zone, one of my zones I had drawn for the YouTube and Patreon members right here reacted very nicely off of this 4-hour area of demand right here. You could have looked for confirmation. So right now I'm not really seeing any opportunities for confirmation trades. So what you could be doing is you could be on a 1-hour chart like here, and you could be basing your decisions off of this 1-hour chart. So if we break out again and we have a zone right here, you could look to get in long there, or you could be set and forget trading a 15-minute chart or a 5-minute chart if we get zones. So if you come to a 15-minute time frame like this, if we get a nice, push up like this, in a base and we have a zone right here, you could look to get in long day trading this one. So all the trends all the time frames trends are up on the 4-hour and the 1-hour. So in my opinion, all signs are pointing to the upside and I would not be getting in short on the Aussie dollar. All right, USD Swiss, the Swiss franc. The past week, the banks added 2,100 longs and they got rid of about 2,100 short positions. Looking at the daily chart, there's absolutely no trend. This is a very difficult chart to read and predict direction. If you do want to get in long, I would target maybe 0.92 or 0.924. Short, I would target right below this low, maybe even a little bit past it at 0.912. There's really not a lot of opportunities here on the USD Swiss, and one thing I take pride in on my channel is not just saying there's always a setup when there's not. If you look at a 4-hour chart here, there's absolutely no zones. I suppose if price does come up to this 4-hour area of supply, you could look for a 15-minute confirmation in there. Other than that, I really don't see any opportunities. If you want to get in short, what I would be doing is I would be waiting for this low to be removed. So once this is removed like this, let me take out my tool. Once that happens like that, maybe we have a zone right here. You could look to possibly get in short if that happens. Until then, I would just be waiting on USD Swiss as I don't really see many opportunities. And a lot of the other pairs are offering way better opportunities for day trading. All right, crude oil. The past week, the banks added 23,000 long positions and they got rid of 6,300 short positions. As you know, Ukraine, Russia, everything's going on. Oil has broken out drastically, so I'd be very, very careful trading this pair, even if you're going in long or short. If you want to get in long, I would target 124.5. If you do want to get in short, I would target 101.2, but I definitely don't really recommend getting in short on this one. But ultimately, if we do see a pullback in oil, there's a nice daily demand here. You can look to get in long on the 1-hour chart for confirmation. Other than that, there's really not too much. In last week's Forex Forecast, oil was sitting inside of this 4-hour area of demand right here. And as you can see on the screen now, price reacted beautifully off of that 4-hour zone where I said you should be looking for buying opportunities. I talked about how oil on the 15-minute chart, we lost momentum. So let's pull that up right now. If you look, we had that downward trend line, and I talked about how momentum had clearly been broken and it might be a decent time to look for longs on oil. Obviously, to get involved would have been very difficult, but ultimately we predicted that move, and I'm very happy with that move. Now we are stuck with a problem on the 4-hour chart. The 4-hour is sideways now. We are reacting off of this 4-hour area of supply. So any longs you should wait for more longs. Once that's removed, you might have a 4-hour zone right here. You could look to get involved there. or you could be sent for get trading to the long side. But ultimately, I would just wait for that 4-hour supply to be removed before getting involved to the long side on oil. And like I said, I do not recommend shorting oil because all signs are pointing up, especially with all of this Russia-Ukraine stuff that has been going on. Hopefully you guys found this weekly Forex forecast helpful. If you did, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like and check out the Patreon or YouTube membership if you need help finding your supply and demand zones. It's only $5 CAD per month. Hope to see you guys there and hope to see you in the next video.